The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
And 91.5, keeping the vibes alive. Lock it.
Another wonderful Tuesday afternoon to you, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with Real FM 91.3 North and 91.5 South. We're also broadcasting live on MBC Television, which is channel 120 on the Flow cable service. I'm Shelton Daniel, your host and producer. And Nigel Shimara Nicholas, our station manager, is again with us doing the technical honors at the controls. I hope that your day so far has been good, that your lunchtime is as well nourishing and fully gratifying, and that the rest of your day will be fulfilling in terms of all your plans that you have in mind to accomplish. Remember, safety first in all things, bearing in mind also that the great danger of the Atlantic hurricane season is still with us officially until the end of November of this year. I won't spend too long on the preamble. I think my program, or our program, is very packed today. Apart from on the radio and the TV, we're also on the Facebook Live, and you can follow us via our WhatsApp group, which is on telephone number, area code 758-724-7325. That's also the number on which we'll be receiving your calls. But I have a ruling party official here in St. Lucia to give us a little bit of further clarification about this privileges committee, so that the misinformation that may be going out in the public domain, that it is essentially counteracted before it takes hold. Through continuous repetition and forcefulness, many people can make you believe that they know what they're talking about, when in fact they don't, and many of us can get swept along with it. You know, I just want to make a brief comment about parents who believe that they love their children more than anybody else loves theirs. You know, so they will support and protect and defend their children in everything and believe that they have to advance their interest, no matter how harmful it is to the child, to others in the community, in the neighborhood, in the society, in the country, and ultimately even to those Sutiwes parents themselves. Their children always are good people. They're always right. They always have to, if somebody hit their child, they will do everything to make sure that you hit him back, that he takes revenge. And a lot of these things that are happening with young people in the society, sadly, it has to do with the parenting. But you know what I find? When you get people who are of what we consider to be a high class, a certain status in our society, who believe that they love their children to the expense of the whole country, or at the expense of the whole country. They don't mind wrecking the country in order to indulge their children in their little fantasies, in their little, things that they want to do, no matter how ill-advised, misguided, no matter how wasteful it is. And I cannot help at this time without mentioning any names, although most of you will probably know who I'm talking about. Concerning a parent who raised this child, giving him everything that the child could have not needed but wanted, indulge him in all the tremendous wealth that that parent had acquired. But yet the parent could see certain tendencies in that child that would be bad for the family business, for the family wealth, for the family enterprise. Did everything to keep that child away from the family business where he could get his hands on money and waste it as he had shown that inclination, that tendency to do. And despite doing all of this and telling so many people about how disappointed he was in that child, but this parent still went about and did everything that one could imagine in order to get that child to have his hands on the country, on the people's money. How heartless and unconscionable this could be. If you know that he's not fit for purpose, that he's bad for your own business and for your own wealth, why are you unleashing him on the country's wealth, on the public wealth, on the people's wealth? That, I think, is extremely heartless, and there is no excuse for it. Because person after person after person who knows what the situation is with that child that I am talking about, who is no longer a child, all told me how that parent had absolutely no reserve when he's chatting with you confidentially, privately, to tell you, look, how wasteful this guy is and how he's had to intervene ever so often to stop certain things this guy was doing, which were just out and out wasteful, things that were not needed, that he was acquiring, people that he was hiring and paying them big money for doing almost nothing. I'm saying, if you knew all of those things, why did you still find that child suitable to unleash on the taxpayers' money? One day that parent, if he does not die before, has to come and explain and apologize to the people as to why he was so reckless, because on the sum of it, that parent is more destructive than the child. You know he have these ways about him. You know how you've had to protect your sweat and blood, your hard-earned money and property and the things that you have and businesses from his hands, which is likely because you yourself spoiled him. But it's okay for him to do everything possible to unleash him, to set him loose. You know? Pour l'argent libre. Allez, l'argent payé, puis l'argent c'est mon. But I won't go further into that because I have with me on the line Senator Lisa Jawahir, the communications director of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And I wanted to share with us, her own sharpened understanding of this whole matter with the Privileges Committee that's going on involving opposition leader Alan Chastney. Senator, good afternoon and welcome to our program. Hi, Senator, are you still with us? All right, I'm hearing you now. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thanks again for taking my call. I think we have a win.
All right, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, go ahead. I think we're doing better now.
Okay, great. Yes, I wanted to call in just to do two things. To start off by saying that coming out of the closed session of the St. Lucia Labour Party's annual conference of delegates on Sunday, all 250 delegates of the St. Lucia Labour Party voted a resounding yes to Philip J. Pierre as political leader of the party. So as is the part of our constitution, during our annual conference, our closed session, we are supposed to have a vote of confidence in the political leader. And this one was a historic vote, first time for any SLP political leader, where Philip J. Pierre obtained 100%, historic 100% vote of confidence from the delegates. So I just wanted to share that with the public, and I think this is an amazing achievement and a testament to the leadership of Philip J. Pierre.
Okay.
Now, what I know, and I wanted to clarify and perhaps provide some elucidation for the general public, persons who may have some difficulty in understanding how we got here as it relates to the matter before the Privileges Committee. Now, I know Alan Chastney has said that he's never been before a Privileges Committee, and that, to my knowledge, is false, because on the 25th of November 2021, he was brought before the Privileges Committee, and this was under, I believe it was a cabinet conclusion that he passed, where the law previously stated that elected members or members of parliament would have been entitled to 100% duty-free up to $100,000. That's for elected members, and for senators would have received 75% duty-free up to $100,000. Now, at that time, Honorable Joachim Henry was in the Senate and did apply to bring down a vehicle to obviously use his 75 duty free. But Alan Chastney at the time had changed the cabinet conclusion to reflect that only elected ministers, that unelected members, for example, unelected ministers, so the senators who were ministers at the time would have been able to access that concession. And if you were not a minister, obviously an opposition senator, you would not have access that. So he was brought before the Privileges Committee in November 25th, 2021 for that particular circumstance. Now, in 2022, July 12th of 2022, Alan Chastney made some allegations against Honorable Richard Frederick, the parliamentary representative for Castries Central, during a House sitting. And Honorable Richard Frederick eventually made a complaint to the Privileges Committee. Following that, on August 11th, it just seems to be a trend with the leader of the opposition. He made some remarks on August 11th during the sitting of the House against the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Ernest Hilaire, who is the Member of Parliament for Castries South, stating that he had a joint account with a former ambassador, using his office as an ambassador at the time to establish a joint account with a former
with a former representative of St. Lucia to the International Maritime Organization, IMO, that was Sheikh Walid, Dr. Walid Jufali.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. So he made those allegations, to which Dr. Hilaire stood on his feet and categorically denied that. Of course, Dr. Hilaire would have eventually made a complaint to the Privileges Committee. Now, what the people of St. Lucia don't understand is, you think you can say whatever you want in the House of Assembly, and you cannot be held to account for your words. And it seems that Alan Chastney probably did not even know the law, because he didn't even understand that he is not entirely protected, quote unquote. You are protected from the public sphere in terms of not being held to account out in the public domain. But members of the House can hold you accountable, especially in the event of you making allegations or lying on a particular member. And if a person is not even present in the House, and you would have mentioned that name, members of the House can hold you accountable, and hence the formation of the Privileges Committee. Now, in Alan Chastney's press conference today, he was referring to the fact that there's only two members of the House, himself and the Member of Parliament for Choiseul Saltibus, and it's unfair, and look at what happens in Trinidad, and the numbers need to be balanced. And I don't know what he's trying, Shelton, but the fact remains that we need to abide by the laws that govern our country, St. Lucia. Yes, we can look at best practices, but if our standing orders see something, if the rules of Parliament see something, Alan Chastney needs to be held accountable. And the only thing he said, which I can understand, coming out of the press conference today, is that he wants to be held accountable. And Shelton, if he feels that it is necessary for such a process to take place, then I am in total agreement with him. None of us are above the law. So you are being brought before the Privileges Committee. Now, we would have learned of a 6-page letter coming from Lex Caribbean, who Alan Chastney hired as his attorney. Lex Caribbean is based in Barbados. His lawyers wrote a 6-page letter making certain claims that they felt were not justified. In response, now these letters actually circulated the media prior to the Speaker of the House receiving them, to which he did state so publicly. The Speaker of the House just responded a 2-page letter stating the facts and stating the continuation of the hearing. Initially, Alan Chastney had requested that, I believe, the October 20th sitting be postponed because he would not have been on island, and that was acquiesced to. Now, there was a press conference that the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Claudius Francis, held yesterday at the House of Parliament to update the media and the general public of what came out of the injunction that Alan Chesney filed, of what came out of the court hearing earlier that day. And so the conclusion was that the House, the committee, the Privileges Committee, would not meet today, October 25th. Initially, it was planned for today. What Alan Chesney has requested is that he wants an open hearing, Shelton. Now, I do not know how this helps the leader of the opposition, who the people of St. Lucia have known that time and time again continues to lie. So he is requesting an open session for all of St. Lucia to hear exactly what is going on. Now, the Privileges Committee, when it meets, it is behind closed doors. Yes, there may be recordings, but it is not out for the public sphere. Alan Chesney wants that. Alan Chesney has requested for a motion to be tabled. The Speaker of the House of Assembly and the members of the Privileges Committee, to our understanding, have agreed to do so. So the next step is this coming Tuesday, that will take us to November 1st. The House is going to meet. And the House is not meeting specifically for that. Let me make it absolutely clear that the House is not just meeting to put that motion forward. The House is going to deal with matters that the House will need to deal with at the time on Tuesday. And that motion will be presented. The motion that the complaints be adopted and go to the Privileges Committee.
So will Mr. Chesney necessarily be the one to move that motion, or can the motion be moved by someone else? I'm asking this because how do you know he's not going to just play games with the House, that on the very morning when the motion is due to be tabled, that he'll withdraw it? You understand? He might rise and say, I'm withdrawing that motion, and so, nothing is going to happen, and he will, find an excuse to miss the next sitting, and he'll just keep dragging out this thing. Mr. Chesney seems determined to play games. Now, we can't prevent that, but what I'm saying, that particular motion, is it in his name, or does it necessarily have to be in his name?
No. So let me explain. The leader of government business, that motion was put out by the government.
Okay.
That the complaint be taken to the Privileges Committee, and people will have, members of the House will have an opportunity to vote. Now, they can simply vote aye or nay and or debate. I rather suspect, Shelton, that the members will debate, because of course there are allegations being put out into the media. There's United PAC, which we know to be a mouthpiece of the United Workers' Party. United PAC continues to push the agenda. They've been putting out some very libelous information on their pages, accusing members of acts that they never committed, putting that out into the public sphere. And of course, people who are behind this will be held accountable. But away from that, what we know is that this is going to be presented to the House. Members should, in my opinion, debate, but we will see what comes out of it, Shelton, because really and truly, there needs to be a lot of lies that must be debunked. There's a lot of mischief out there, and it is up to the members to be able to let the St. Lucian public know the facts. Now, I do not, again, know how this really helps Alan Chesney, because Alan Chesney, as I said, on July 12th and on August 11th, made those comments, made those allegations, and they are on the Parliament's record. They are on Hansard. So when you're taking those allegations, cannot come and say he did not say, because the facts are there. And HTS also carried a story of exactly what Alan Chesney said a few days ago. So there, the St. Lucian public will hear for a fact that he lied, because in his press conference, he said up to now, he does not know why he is being brought to the Privileges Committee. And I do not know why Alan Chesney thinks that the people of St. Lucia are stupid. This was brought to the House by the Speaker of the House of Assembly on October 11th, which was last week, which was 2 Tuesdays back. He brought for the House. Alan Chesney was seated right there. So if you want to say you were not formally written or say this or say that, but do not say that up to now you do not know why you are being brought to the House. I mean, really, you were right in the House when Honorable Claudius Francis spoke about it. And Shelton, this is the thing that really makes you understand that Alan Chesney has no ground to stand on, because he will lie publicly. He will lie about being brought to the Privileges Committee. He will lie that he's unaware of why he's been brought to the House, and of course lies that he has never said anything of what he's been accused of. But in his own words, he said he wants to be held accountable, and that is what we are going to see. Now, Shelton, I want to just say this before I invite further comments. When you look at the proceedings of the House of Assembly, when you look in the comments, people are telling you that they are not quite pleased with how things are going. It's like it's a surplus. It's like the House has no order. Now, the purpose of the committees is to enforce order. It is about time that we restore order to our parliament. We need to safeguard our institutions, our government institutions. We need to bring back dignity to the parliament. And that is why you cannot and you must not say things, outlandish statements, and expect to go away and get away with it. It's like a child who is telling a lie at 1 o'clock in the morning. You hear them, you ignore them. Another child is telling you the same thing at 3 o'clock, the same thing at 6 o'clock, but to different people, and the word continues to spread. We cannot allow those lies and mistruths and those false allegations to be perpetuated through our government institutions. And I believe it is absolutely important for us to protect the dignity of the House of Parliament, and that is exactly the purpose of the Privileges Committee.
Senator, I don't know if you can allow yourself to give us a little insight into the analysis of the St. Lucia Labour Party, or by the St. Lucia Labour Party, where resides a lot of brain power. It has been known historically and so on. And so what is Alan Chesney's underlying motive for all of this? Because what he has asked for, he's pushing for the privileges matter to be dealt with in open, court, so to speak, before the entire House, as opposed to a committee in camera. What does the Labour Party analyze him as hoping to achieve by doing this? Because it looks like he would not be doing this, and I'm sure he's getting some advice, unless there is some mischievous intent that he hopes he can achieve by this. So what's the analysis on that one?
So, Shelton, I can tell you, based on the letters written by his attorneys and based on his response at the press conference today, you are getting the feeling that Alan Chesney is hoping that this be thrown out, because he keeps talking about his constitutional rights being infringed and his constitutional rights, and this is an attack on him. It sounds like he wants to use, quote unquote, constitutional rights as a direction to throw this out. But the bottom line remains: you have asked for it to be out in the public. We've given you that. You are making statements that it's a bit biased. Members on the Privileges Committee. The committee has agreed to take a look at that as well. You must be held accountable for your actions. So it's simply him trying to throw it out, because as far as all of us know, he did make those statements. And unless he can prove that his statements are backed up or his statements are factual, then the House will make recommendations, or the Privileges Committee, will make recommendations as to what sorts of disciplinary actions will take place. Now, disciplinary actions can obviously, that can include an apology. It can include suspension of the House. That will then be brought back, I believe, to the House, and they can decide whether or not these recommendations are too stiff, or these recommendations are too lenient, or some changes need to be made. And as far as we know, the courts cannot dictate any such recommendations by the Privileges Committee, and so we just need to, of course, wait to hear those recommendations. Well, of course, after it's been debated by the House, sent to the Privileges Committee, we will learn of any form of disciplinary action or recommendations coming out of the Privileges Committee.
Wow. This is just sounding so much. What is the chance that he's trying to cast himself as being some kind of political matter? He knows he can't win this one, not within the parliament, but, by getting the courts involved, and while the courts respect the right of Parliament to regulate its own procedure, but I guess he did such a loud and noisy job of crybabying that he was being targeted and that sort of thing. Do you believe that he's also trying to cast himself as a political martyr kind of figure? Look, you know, they're all ganging up on me, they're all dumping on me, they're all taking advantage of me. Do you think that this is another desperate play of the dice for someone who is struggling within his own party to find that kind of justification for continuing with him?
I do think yes, because you know, even during the press conference, he would try to harness and make his statements and be emotional about it. I'm saying to the people of Saint Lucia, this is not a situation for us to be emotional about. And what I mean by that is, it is very, very important for us to understand the facts, which I have just outlined. And that is how this matter will be dealt with. This matter will be dealt on facts. Of course, when they go to the House of Assembly and they debate, they are going to form a narrative to be able to explain their position. But what Alan Chasney will be held accountable for is the fact that he made those statements. And if he cannot back up those allegations, he must be held accountable. So Shelton, all I believe we need to be patient with or concerned about is the fact that Alan Chasney did make those statements in July and August of this year, and he is being held accountable for his tongue. He's being held accountable for that. So it's not a situation where it's a witch hunt or you are deliberately trying or there's any vendetta or you're out to get Alan Chasney, because these things can just be, you know, coming out and people out of nowhere can decide this is the direction they want to go. But that is not the case here. Everything that has been put out in the public sphere by the SLP administration, the members of Parliament and the government side, has been for Alan Chasney to come with evidence to back up his allegations. And these are all the facts we will be dealing with when we go to the House on Tuesday.
Well, let's see how that goes, because everybody who studies this thing is saying Mr. Chasney is putting himself in a position where it's a more disadvantageous position he's putting himself in. But he seems to want that disadvantageous position, so maybe there is an end game that he is playing to, which the rest of us have not realized. We can only wait and see. But everybody who has even half a brain studies this thing says, but wait, he's putting himself in a worse situation, you know, by pushing so hard for this thing to be before the whole house and so on. But it's his choice. He's made it. Thank you so very much, Senator Lisa Jawahir.
Thank you so much, Shelton. We'll keep in touch.
All right. Now, we're going to take our break now because I want us to resume as close as possible to 1 o'clock, because I have a guest who's a regional figure who wants to talk about the situation of regional air travel. Many people are expressing frustration with the very simple task of moving by air from one island to the other, the hold-ups, the long delays, and so on. And I think that guest is going to be asking, after all the blows we put on Liat, was Liat really as bad as many of us made it out to be? And what are the options that we now face in what seems to be a real quagmire when it comes to regional air travel? This is The Real Issues. We'll be back in a moment.
November, St. Lucia, roll out as Empire 758, Digicel, and Golden Events bring to you Steve. Big up you! The big cool up effect as Sufre Ground erupts, performing live, Young Brother! You wanna chill, Suki! Hey sir, Bantam! Do something crazy. Black boy! Wine and go down, make bumper, catch on fire, and I'll be the firefighter. Your hands have to touch bunny floor. Never know you coulda touch bunny floor. Alongside a big international supply, the man himself will be announced soon. Get those early bird tickets right now. Saturday 19th of November, so Pride Ground. It's all about steam.
In the belly. Live streaming has become one of the best ways to connect the funeral of a loved one with friends and family, both local and international. NBC Television will live stream your funerals on television and Facebook at a reasonable rate. With our state-of-the-art equipment, you can be assured that the quality of your funeral will be to your satisfaction. Call our office now and book your obituary and streaming with us. 758-453-7458.
Why so blue? Now's your chance to win super blah prizes. $20, kettles, press button phones, Snickers and other super boring rewards. Get more this summer with Digicel. Now's your time to win big, big, big! And get more prizes and more value every day from the network that gives you more.
Digicel is doing what?
Yes, you heard correctly. Pepper Puge, cash, groceries, free gas, and more. Plus, the grand prize of $20,000 this summer with Digicel.
Tell me how I could win.
Winning is easy. Activate any Prime bundle, switch to Digicel, sign up for Digicel Plus, or pay your postpaid bill on time and in full. It's time to get more this summer with Digicel. Qualify to win now. Promotion ends August 20th, 2022. Digicel terms and conditions apply. Digicel, better together this summer.
Gentlemen, if you are suffering from prostate cancer, and you have been told that there's nothing that can be done for you before you and your family make your final arrangements, please try ProsCare. ProsCare is a proprietary blend of special natural medicines. To order ProsCare, please call Health Services Center 1-758-453-6417 or 485-9818. Please call now. This call may save your life.
Come experience the creativity and innovation of our entrepreneurs at the 15th Annual St. Lucia Taiwan Partnership Trade Show happening at the Harbor Club Hotel from the 2nd to the 4th of November. Businesses from St. Lucia and Taiwan will showcase products and services ranging from food and beverage to skincare, fashion, personal accessories, renewable energy products, ICT services, and more. Our theme this year is Forging Strong Ties Through Sustainable Trade. We feature new trading opportunities for our business community with daily entertainment and lots of giveaways. Visit and support our local entrepreneurs. Experience the offerings of Taiwanese businesses. All happening at the 15th Annual St. Lucia Taiwan Partnership Trade Show at the Harbor Club Hotel, November 2nd to the 4th, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. See you there.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary negation and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper. Vitamins like beta-carotene, a vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, pyridoxine, and nicotinic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back, let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Bob and Dave were very proud to buy their mom a new energy-saving fridge with lots of smart settings. They remember the old ways of energy saving. Mom always said, "Close the fridge, you're wasting current." Smart advice then, smart advice now. Close the fridge, you're wasting current. Saving energy is what's smart.
Thank you so very much, everyone, for staying with the real issues here on Real FM 91.3 and 91.5. And I always have to keep reminding you that we're not just on the radio anymore and on the Facebook Live. We're also on the TV as well. We are on NBC television simulcasting with the radio, and that is channel 120 on the Flow cable television service. Now, Liat. We almost don't have Liat anymore. Very limited service. My understanding, just 1 or 2 planes now in service. And all the other airlines that they said would come in to fill the gap and to fill the breach and to fill the vacancy left by Liat, it doesn't seem to be happening. Wherever I turn, people are complaining about the state of air travel in the region. I hear people saying how they go to Tobago and they end up getting stuck there. People are saying how they went to this place and that place and the Inter-Caribbean and all that they spoke about. That is just not happening for them. Well, I have a gentleman who's on the line now. He's a Barbadian, and he wants to speak about the matter of regional air travel and where it is at and the problems that we're having. Maybe share some of his own experiences. He describes himself as an advocate for social and good governance, with a strong desire for Caribbean sustainable development. I have interviewed Cami Holder before, back in the day when I was at Radio St. Lucia doing 90 Minutes. I think I had him and a gentleman who's now a Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, responsible for finance in Barbados. I think that gentleman's name is Ryan Strawn, or if I'm not mistaken. And they were at the time speaking very passionately against plans by the then government to develop a so-called waste-to-energy plants in Barbados that was going to consume a lot of the country's resources, and they spoke very passionately against it. And now he's back to talk this time about air travel in the region, and I can assure it's because I have the greatest respect for Cami Holder that I decided to allow him to have his say on these matters, and he will talk to us about them, such as, is it working? All the alternatives that they said that they had to Liat. Was Liat as bad as we thought? Is CARICOM serious? And I suppose about air travel. What are really the cost of maintaining it and the interest, of the people of the region and businesses in the region? And like I said, his own personal experience. Cami, good afternoon and welcome to The Real Issues.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing? I also want to say good afternoon to our listeners through the Caribbean.
Okay. And thanks for the knighthood, Cami, but Barbados is a republic now, isn't it? So I don't know why you still have that sir mindset in you. Just kidding on that one.
It's just a matter of respect. Just a matter of respect.
All right. Cami, the whole situation of air travel in the region, especially since the virtual demise. Yes, it's still flying, but I understand it's just 1 or 2 planes and just barely. There seems to be regional air travel in almost total disarray. We are hearing complaints all the time from people about the difficulty and the challenges and the complexity of just moving from one part of the island chain to the other and so on. Can you just give us your thoughts on that?
Well, I think to qualify, I would say that it's an epic disarray. It is sad that to travel from Barbados to Grenada, which is just about 45 minutes away, it can cost you as much as maybe $400, even $500. And it's really sad.
And you're talking about US dollars or Barbados dollars? We want to know the currency.
In some instances, if you depend on the airline that you choose, if you can get an airline, it can be as much as US dollars.
Okay.
I found myself in a situation where I was, for the lack of a better understanding, stranded in Grenada. And I'm going to give you the listeners that story.
Yes.
And if I was to take a flight from Grenada to Trinidad to Barbados, it would cost me in excess of $589 US. I could have gotten a ticket maybe like $400 or $500 US to New York. And that is how bad it is. Now, here is the situation. I decided that I wanted to spend some time doing some research in Grenada. And after I finished my research, I decided, you know what, it's time to go. I booked a ticket on a airline that's supposed to be reliable and it's going to replace Liat. And let me say the listeners, we thought that Liat was bad. Liat was good and Liat really served its purpose. Yes, it may have been late, but Liat had an excellent history in terms of safety. And traveling through the Caribbean for many years, I've never had an experience where a Liat had to abort a takeoff. And I experienced airline having to abort a takeoff twice within 72 hours within last month. Anyhow, the sad situation is that I boarded the aircraft and had to abort the takeoff within 10 minutes. And I'm wondering how come that the Civil Aviation Authority do not seek to investigate these issues. Because I'm hearing of too many instances where these airlines are having to abort takeoffs. Now, the sad thing is that within 72 hours, they had an aborted takeoff. And I found myself seeing that as some sort of old man and decide, you know what, I am not getting back on that particular airline.
So are you saying the plane was already taxiing for takeoff and they had to abort it?
The plane had taken off. No, the plane had taken off. And in 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. Yeah?
No, so here's it. My vacation has come to an end, or my research has come to an end, and that has happened. It then happened within 72 hours again. Plane took off, had some issues, and within 5 minutes back on the ground.
Oh my goodness.
Now here's it. Now I'm refusing now to travel that airline. Decide I'm going to try to get back to Barbados. Would you believe Barbados being 45 minutes away? I could not get a flight until 5 days down the road.
5 days?
Airline.
5 days you had to stay? Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness.
Because the alternative would the thing is that since I'm not flying on that airline, and the only other airline that would take me to Barbados would be leaving direct to Barbados via St. Vincent on the Sunday. An alternative to that would have been taking a flight from Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, and Barbados via who would only visit or travel to Grenada once a week. So we are so disconnected within the Caribbean. So there is no trade, and the implications are very severe, you know. Because the implication also speaks to the movement of goods and services throughout the Caribbean, and people do not understand that. So it was really an eye-opener, and I'm saying that CARICOM is so disjointed as it relates to the importance of travel, because there is no way, and there are about 6 or more million persons in CARICOM, and there is no fast ferry system. There is no reliable travel. Now here is it, right? That we have cruise ships, because you know my case sustainability and the environment. But we have cruise ships coming to the Caribbean and impacting our environment, and there is no common cruise ship fee to help with projects or with even to mitigate the offset from these people environmental impact. That we can use the same money to build infrastructure. And these are the issues that CARICOM needs to deal with if CARICOM wants to be taken seriously.
Why do you think CARICOM is not taking this up as a priority issue at the regional level? Because surely air travel is not just a recreational thing. This facilitates business. I mean, just about every plank of our regional integration and cooperation and functional, harmonization and all of that depends upon having available, reliable, consistent air travel. So why is it not a greater priority than what you are discerning, Kami?
Well, again, CARICOM, as I would say, is a political animal. And until they take the politics out of CARICOM, and you have civil society more involved in CARICOM, where the politicians will help in terms of policy, but civil society will be mandated for implementation. You have egos which are at the center of CARICOM. Now, I'm seeing within recent days, Grenada speaking about having their own airline. It's an airline costs 10 cents. You take the rights, the certification is 10 cents. Antigua now decide that they want to have Antigua area. I don't know what Barbados is doing. We are so disjointed, and that's the issue. And I'm saying that there are many measures that we can put in place if you're truly a tourist destination that can help to fund air travel or sea travel to the Caribbean. But what we have within CARICOM is a lot of big egos and small visions.
Okay, let's.
I'm sorry to be so pointed, but I have to be, because unless sometimes you're pointed to start a discussion, nothing changes.
Let's take it step by step, Kami, in certain things that are more immediately and more recently before us. The demise of LIAT. I mean, we were told that, well, of course, I have to preface it by saying that our aviation and travel woes within the region did not begin with the problems of LIAT, but they have a long history to them. But eventually, the major shareholders of LIAT, namely St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Barbados, deciding that, look, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and all the things that they have to deal with, Barbados, its fiscal position, that it simply could not afford to pump any more money into LIAT. Antigua and Barbados Prime Minister Gaston Brown decided that he was going to take a never say die approach, that LIAT was simply too important. He was going to do whatever it took, even if he had to go it alone, to ensure that LIAT survived. It has not yet been liquidated, but it's hanging on just barely. Do you believe that LIAT necessarily had to reach the point where it is today? Or are you in any way convinced that there were different avenues that could have been explored and paths taken to keep LIAT afloat?
I'm of the strong opinion that LIAT and its previous state was doomed to fail. I think it was top heavy and it was leaking money. And if you sometimes want better, you have to implode or destroy to build back from scratch. And I'm thinking that if you can run LIAT as a business and not as a social good, it can be profitable. And until we get politicians to understand that it cannot be about votes, it cannot be about their egos, and it has to be run as a business, it cannot be seen as a place where I'm going to put my political appointees to get work, or people who are not fit for purpose running LIAT. LIAT will continue the same problem. So you can come with any different reincarnations, and if you still have politicians being in charge of it, the same problem will happen.
Okay. LIAT is only one facet, but we have Trinidad and Tobago, which for many years was regarded as, look, having the means, having the wherewithal to have a big and significant airline that's making an impact, not just regionally, but internationally, BWIA, all of that. They actually acquired Air Jamaica. Why isn't it that we have some big players as part of CARICOM that we could not get this thing down pat a little better, so that we could have a West Indies Airways, even if we wanted to take out the British, in it and so on, that we could have had some cooperation, that we have an international presence, but yet we have those little hub and spoke serving the region, Liat type airline, even if it is called something else. What has prevented that kind of cooperation? It may be difficult now because the fortunes of Trinidad, it seems, are not what they used to be, neither Jamaica and so on. What prevented that kind of cooperation beyond the egos that you talked about? Because we were always speaking about the need for integration, and facilitating travel was a key plank of that integration of intra-regional trade, of our sporting relationships, and how we could develop that to have, some commercial success in it, our prowess in cricket, and what Jamaica has shown it can do with athletics. I mean, we've been talking about those things for years, Kami. Surely maybe we had to make some sacrifice with the regional air travel and so on. Maybe the coffers that you mentioned, they had to get in the public coffers, because I have heard even Ralph Gonzalez say we need to regard Liat as a regional public good. We have to regard it as that we need this kind of presence and so on in order to facilitate. But what has prevented it from happening? I mean, we seem to have gone backward rather than gone forward.
Well, if we can cast some minds back to what destroyed the whole federation, I'm thinking it's the issue again. You have egos which are big, and you have the small island and the big England. This body think that it's about influence. My GDP is bigger than yours. My size, my country is bigger than yours. But how could you have so much influence because you're too small? And I think the problem is the same one that existed that caused the federation to break up, and we fail to realize that the GA has no interest at the next to exploit small island development states like Barbados. And it's soon we understand that we need to come together and pool our resources. We will always have problems of where Caribbean islands doing their own thing, Antigua doing their own thing, Grenada doing their own thing, Barbados doing their own thing. It need not happen. We need to pool resources and understand that the whole is greater than the sum. It is really hurtful that there's not even a standards bureau in CARICOM. Now here's it that I was in Grenada, and I know some people get vexed with this here, and I saw chicken that was green in color, blue in color, red in color, that is more than third grade that I would not even feed to my dogs. And I'm saying that CARICOM needs to understand that they need to have commonalities in terms of standards, in terms of building, in terms of air traffic. There's so much that CARICOM is not doing, and CARICOM needs to move beyond air talk shop.
Let's talk a bit about Antigua Airways that you reference in your opening, statements, Kami. I mean, Antigua has, it's called Antigua Airways, but I understand it's a partnership between Antigua and some West African countries to facilitate travel between the African continent and the Caribbean, where Antigua will be pretty much the gateway, but then it would feed into the wider Caribbean. You've had some thoughts on this. Prime Minister Gaston Brown, his government, I mean, they're absolutely excited about it. I'm sure there will be a lot of I's to be dotted, T's to be crossed, and other things to be tweaked. But you did share some thoughts on that with me. I don't know if you want to share them with, our wider audience about, what you think about this initiative.
I personally think it's a brilliant idea, because we need to bridge that gap between Africa and the Caribbean. It is sad that the closest point between the Eastern Caribbean and Africa is Senegal. But yet we have to pay fees, taxes, to go via London 8 hours, then 6 to the continent. It is a serious indictment that in 2022 we cannot understand that we can build capacity. There's room for travel, there's room for tourism, there is room for cargo. Nobody speaks to the whole notion that a lot of the middle class on the African continent is vacation in Russia, Saudi Arabia, Hawaii, and so forth. The young fellas are making money from gold, timber, oil, and fintech. Nobody's understand those fellas spending US dollars now. They're not spending the CDs, which is they just devalued by 50%. They're not spending the Naira. And until we understand, we will miss the boat. Now, as it relates to Antigua Airways, as I said, it's a superb idea because there's opportunity for cargo. You know, if you want to send something from Barbados, let's say, or from Antigua to Africa, it has to go through England. And they even charge you more for freight. And I hope the countries understand that in Caribbean that they exploit us as far as shipping into Africa via Europe. Now, perception is important. Now, I visited the website and there are some numbers for WhatsApp. So I saved the number in WhatsApp because I'm interested in going to Nigeria. I have some friends there. And what comes up, but somebody on a WhatsApp, a guy stand outside a building. He was saying to me, if I want a book, contact this person. Perception again. You're calling these numbers, you're not getting a response. I am saying that we've had instances where we started wrong, and it can again derail any efforts to creating that air travel between Barbados, because you are dealing with money, and you don't want the perception to be had is that, you know what, these people are together or these people are ready. So I'm saying is that they need to have a proper functioning website. Nobody who goes to that website now will be impressed with the current website they have. I mean, the logos look nice and so forth. So the perception again. So I don't want to know the idea. It's a great idea, but it's the perception that you have that can tarnish the good efforts of Prime Minister Brown and the airline.
All right. Are you mentioned Prime Minister Brown. Do you believe that he's received sufficient support in his efforts to at least keep LIAT as a going concern? Not at the same, presence and level and impact that maybe it had, but he's tried to keep it as a going concern, because I guess he understands that once you shutter up something, reopening it from scratch is a lot more difficult than if you keep it in at least a diminished state. Then you can enlarge it a little bit later. It's an uphill task. Antigua has its own fiscal challenges like others, but Prime Minister Brown has done everything to try to transition to what he's termed LIAT 2020. Okay, we accept that LIAT 1974 Limited has to go. It is no more, but at least let's look at the LIAT 2020. Do you believe that, this is something that he has gotten the kind of support that he deserves and maybe was looking forward to?
As a biggest person, it would be remiss of me or be deceitful of me to say that I have seen a business plan and I can speak to that effectively. I would be speaking out of turn if I have not seen a business plan, and I do not to be so presumptuous to make any assumptions. Unless I have seen a business plan, I cannot speak to that with any sense of authority.
Okay.
I think that's the best way I can answer that, to be fair to all persons in concern and all Caribbean as a government. All
right, Kame, if you were to appear before some committee or some panel of CARICOM who, having heard your remarks, your thoughts, your published statements on the matter, and were to ask you, okay, what recommendation would you make to us now? In other words, the one that is the top priority, the go-to one, the first step that we need to take to at least begin to address and to change, the situation where it comes to regional air travel. What would that recommendation or those recommendations be from you in a kind of a summarized pre-seed form?
Well, one, these 6 months in terms of revolving CARICOM heads would be at least a year, and that CARICOM should come up with some sort of cruise ship tax to help fund regional air travel towards having one common carrier.
Okay. One of the persons on our Facebook Live list says several other airlines have tried to service the region. They all disappeared just as quickly as they came, including the one in which Alan Chastney had a management role, hence the liar's animosity towards LIAT. I don't think that's meant for you, Kami. The close proximity of our islands makes it a very expensive airspace to service efficiently, compounded with the extremely high taxes, fees, and let me see, this one jumped away from me. Yes, compounded with the extremely high taxes, fees, and other charges applied by each island, it is almost impossible for any airline to make any huge profit. Regional governments must agree with the St. Vincent Prime Minister. LIAT must be recognized and treated as the necessary public good that it is. Any reactions from you to that?
great ideas, and that is why I'm saying that the funding model of taxing the cruise ship visitors through the Caribbean, even if it's an R&D tax, maybe $20 a head or so, we are losing out yearly in terms of not taxing the cruise ship visitors to the Caribbean. And I'm saying that it should be pooled as some sort of CARICOM fund, where those money should be used to invest to offset the taxes that each country is charging, which to me is counterproductive. And the person is very correct. We cannot have these taxes killing regional trade, trade and tourism. So let's go after the cruise ship tours as it relates to having that per head tax. That's a funding model.
Okay. Okay, Kami, thank you so very much. I don't know if you have any parting words before we wrap up this segment, but I really appreciate having you and sharing your thoughts on this matter. Like I said, I've heard the complaints myself of so many people stating what a nightmare it is for them these days, and for a little while now, traveling throughout the region. I think a lot of people have become afraid of even trying because they never know where they can be stuck and stranded.
My only parting word is that I am also a bit concerned about the increasing tendency of Caribbean countries to raise funds by citizens by investment programs. I'm very concerned with that because it exposes the whole Caribbean to being blacklisted as it relates to visa entry to many parts of the world, and that is my parting shot.
Indeed, it has happened. It is a concern, and I believe the level of due diligence needs to be raised, because I think together with having the CIP programs, a lot of countries, in order to attract more business, I think they kind of slackened, if not outright dropped the ball on their due diligence. And even when the due diligence was done for them by international partners, many times they did not pay heed to what was coming through, the intelligence that was coming through the due diligence, to apply it and to make it actionable and so on. And I believe a lot of the countries like Canada and so on, they reacted to them not acting on the due diligence. Thank you very much for that, Kami.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. This is The Real Issues. We take a break. When we come back, we'll be reading more of your comments on the Facebook Live and on the WhatsApp, and we'll also be taking your telephone calls. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
Saturday, 19th of November, St. Lucia, roll out as Empire 758, Digicel, and Golden Events bring to you Steve! Big up you! The big pull up fair as Sufre Ground erupts, performing live, Young Brother!
You wanna chill? You wanna chill?
Suki! Hey sir, Banter!
Do something crazy. Do something crazy.
Black Boy!
Wine and go down, make bumper, catch on fire, and I'll be the firefighter.
Your hands have to touch bunny floor. Never know you coulda touch bunny floor. Alongside a big international supply, the man himself will be announced soon. Get those early bird tickets right now. Saturday, 19th of November. So Friday Crown. It's all about Steve.
Live streaming has become one of the best ways to connect the funeral of a loved one with friends and family, both local and international. NBC Television will live stream your funerals on television and Facebook at a reasonable rate. With our state-of-the-art equipment, you can be assured that the quality of your funeral will be to your satisfaction. Call our office now and book your obituary and streaming with us. 758-453-7458.
Data helps you solve problems. Ever experienced a slow sales month or disappointing product promotion effort? How do you identify where it all went wrong? Tracking and reviewing data from your business processes will help you discover performance breakdowns and provide valuable insights into each part of your process. Whether improving your customer service, increasing customer retention, or predicting trends to build your customer base, data will help you identify effective solutions to address your business problems. At Massey Stores, we aim to give you a quality shopping experience, and data is critical to achieving this goal.
ProTool. Measure the performance of your business with ProTool. Brought to you by the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council.
Why so blue? Now's your chance to win super blah prizes. $20, kettles, press button phones, Snickers and other super boring rewards.
Get more this summer with Digicel. Now's your time to win big, big, big! And get more prizes and more value every day from the network that gives you more.
Digicel is doing what?
Yes, you heard correctly. Pepper Wepuge, cash, groceries, free gas, and more. Plus, the grand prize of $20,000 this summer with Digicel.
Tell me how I could win.
Winning is easy. Activate any Prime bundle,
Switch to Digicel.
sign up for Digicel Plus,
Or pay your postpaid bill on time and in full.
it's time to get more this summer with Digicel.
Qualify to win now. Promotion ends August 20th, 2022. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Digicel, better together this summer.
Gentlemen, if you are suffering from prostate cancer, and you have been told that there's nothing that can be done for you before you and your family make your final arrangements, please try ProsCare. ProsCare is a proprietary blend of special natural medicines. To order ProsCare, please call Health Services Center 1-758-453-6417 or 485-9818. Please call now. This call may save your life.
Come experience the creativity and innovation of our entrepreneurs at the 15th Annual St. Lucia Taiwan Partnership Trade Show happening at the Harbor Club Hotel from the 2nd to the 4th of November. Businesses from St. Lucia and Taiwan will showcase products and services ranging from food and beverage to skincare, fashion, personal accessories, renewable energy products, ICT services, and more. Our theme this year is Forging Strong Ties Through Sustainable Trade. We feature new trading opportunities for our business community with daily entertainment and lots of giveaways. Visit and support our local entrepreneurs. Experience the offerings of Taiwanese businesses. All happening at the 15th Annual St. Lucia Taiwan Partnership Trade Show at the Harbor Club Hotel, November 2nd to the 4th, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. See you there.
Bob and Dave were very proud to buy their mom a new energy-saving fridge with lots of smart settings. They remember the old ways of energy saving. Mom always said, "Close the fridge, you're wasting current." Smart advice then, smart advice now. Close the fridge, you're wasting current. Saving energy is what's smart.
Data helps you improve processes.
Data helps you to understand your business processes and to reduce wasted money and time.
Every company feels the effects of waste. It depletes your resources, squanders time, and ultimately impacts your business bottom line.
Plan to save money and time. Maximize your business full potential with data.
At St. Lucia Linen, data has enabled us to plan for the future and to increase our efficiency.
ProTool. Measure the performance of your business with ProTool. Brought to you by the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council.
Where can we pay bills?
Buy groceries
And buy lottery.
Southwell. Southwell Retail and Wholesale Supermarket. Your one-stop shop for groceries, alcoholic beverages, wholesale or retail, shore pay services, and lotto outlet. For retail, visit our Clark Street Viewfort location at telephone 454-5333. And for wholesale, our New Dock Viewfort Road location at 454-5233. Southwell, the right choice, your one-stop shop.
To the real issues on this Tuesday, the 25th of October 2022. And our telephone line is open to take your calls. Remember, this time it's 724-7325, 724-7325. You can call this either as a direct call to a mobile, or you can WhatsApp call it, particularly if you're overseas. We have our first caller. Hi, good afternoon. You're on.
Hi, good afternoon, Shelton.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Good afternoon to your listeners and viewers.
I thought you'd be listening to another radio station where I'm told the leader of the opposition is on today, you know, so that he could bring us up to speed with various goings on, like protest march, like press conference, like radio appearance. I mean, some people have developed the gift of being ubiquitous, you know, they everywhere at the same time. But go ahead, you know, that's just my little initial tease.
You know, my brain can take so much nonsense for one day, and it already started with the Boston Celtics losing to Chicago last night, so I don't think I have time for any more nonsense.
Okay, so you're Bostoner. Okay.
I heard Nigel laughing.
Of course he is.
Okay. The Lakers are what? 0-3, 0-4?
he probably is a supporter of the other side, you know, so he got you one.
He's a Laker guy. So Boston and LA are naturally in contention.
All right,
anyway, two important matters. Shelton, you know, I listened to your caller a while ago, and all I could do was nod in agreement, because I think I brought this up before. No, I know I brought this up before in your forum and many other fora, and it almost seems like we're spinning top in mud. You know, 60 years after the dissolution of the West Indies Federation, you know, and almost 50 years since the establishment of...
Hello, are you there? Almost 50 years since the establishment of... Oops, I think we got a little...
Eric Williams. Sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
Eric Williams said, you know, upon Jamaica leaving the Federation, before Trinidad left, he said 1 from 10 leaves not. And I mean, as much as that position at the time was based on them being the bigger nations and us being a small island, but it still applies today, maybe in another light, meaning that we are unable to get things together if at least one person decides that they're not on the train. And you know, with Liat, it's just a travesty that keeps going on and on and on and on. Liat is a public good. If I'm no economist, but I think every economist worth their salt, doing whatever analysis that they do, would come up with the conclusion that regional air travel at this point is a public good. You know, at this time, if CARICOM can get it right, maybe it's time for OECS to see about their own regional air travel and let everybody pick it up from them. Because at the end of the day, as it relates to integration, although it might be easier because of a shared language and currency, we have, as much as I think OECS themselves have been moving at snail's pace, they've moved much faster than CARICOM. You know, so, and again, the insularities that divided us during the days of the Federation are the same ones that are dividing us now. You look at Antigua and Barbados, who are fighting for control over Liat, you know, and I agree to the point, as long as politicians are involved, you will get it. Whether administration changes or not, you might find this one rogue who may decide that they want to give their friends and family a particular blight, and they say, you know, screw Liat, and let's get our own thing done. Now, that said, you had asked a question to Lisa earlier regarding you know, the press conference instead of the leader of the opposition's appearance in the House, and regarding the whole matter with the Privileges Committee. I believe, which I've always believed, I believe for some years now, he is only playing to the dull and the ignorant within his own particular base.
Say that again.
These antics are only catering to the dull and ignorant. And I'll be honest, and it can be taken to sound snobbish or whatever people want, however someone may want to look at it. But if you are to really look at the base and the people who seem to hang on his every word and support it, even though when clearly the average person can see it's nonsense, even within their own party, it makes you understand the whole the MO of Cambridge Analytica and these kinds of people, because once they can put a message out there and continually drum it for it to become fact, especially by the ones who are fickle in mind, who really don't understand the knowings of the government, which goes back to what the whole CCJ it was already ruled in court since 2013 that a referendum is not required for us to assent to the CCJ. Why? And let's look at it realistically. Why would we want to put that in the hands of a referendum and the public, where I can assure you probably half the public would not understand the dynamics of this, even if you say to them that listen, it will be more cost effective for us to go, for cheaper for us as a people to assent to the CCJ instead of having to go to the Privy Council. If we were to even show them, I think these people are the ones they are really catering to, and which is sad, but and the politicians themselves have brought upon themselves over the decades of the lack of educating our people on our political processes and how things work. And it was always this based on, they look for the lowest common denominator and they'll just start there. But Shelton, that's basically my contribution for the afternoon. Good afternoon to you and your viewers.
Thank you very much, Miguel. Really appreciate it. All right, then. We continue taking your calls on 724-7325. Someone says on the Facebook Live, Alan is in studio. He said that he was never asked to withdraw his statements that were made about Ernest. All right. Another one says, man, I just popped by Newspin. Big mistake. Well, it's the same person, Charmaine Georges. Somebody asked about the protest that they were supposed to have, and Vernon Kazamo says the clowns didn't show up. I saw a picture which was sent on the on WhatsApp, and if that is representative of the people who gathered for that protest, then I mean it's a little more than just a handful. But we have a caller on the line. Hello, hi, good afternoon. The Real Issues, you're on. Hello.
Yes. How do you do, sir?
I'm doing okay, and you? Hello.
Okay, not bad.
Okay.
Yes. My opinion on Liat. Honestly, I have never supported
you're kind of breaking up. You said you have what was the first thing you said?
I said my opinion on Liat. I have never supported Alan Chasney, not even if he tells me I'm going to bring your 20-year-old mother that's dead back. But when it comes to he not participating in Liat, I supported that. That's the only thing I supported.
Okay, why?
Because Liat has been in business for too long, and they have not done not undone for themselves. I travel how many times by Liat, and I was so disappointed. My last trip was in 1998 when I went to Venezuela. 40 minutes. The plane has one too many passengers if you believe there's missing one seat. 40 minutes. The pilot was not on board.
40 minutes from where to where?
Flight attendant was there.
Hold on.
No AC.
40 minutes from where to where?
40 minutes. All the passengers were already on the plane.
Okay, and there's no air condition on it?
No AC. The pilot is not there. Ask the flight attendant what happened. She doesn't know. I said, Madam, you work with Liat. I don't. So you need to tell me what's going on. I went off the plane and walked back to the terminal.
Okay.
Yes, and I could hear them calling my name. And a vehicle came to pick me up and take me back. And I said, that is my last straw. I have been waiting for Liat to take me to St. Lucia. When I'm watching at the airport, Liat is grounded, and the government of Guadeloupe said Liat owes them, and unless they pay, they're leaving. But Liat has done too much nonsense, and then as much as the main office is in Antigua, Liat will always fail. And I'm telling you straight up, Liat had to go. Sorry.
Okay.
Liat had to go. They were not doing a good job.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
Look at the ticket. You look at the ticket. The amount of taxes. It's like the flight is almost for nothing, but the taxes are so high. This and that and that and that. Man, I would rather take a chalup. I don't want the yacht. She had to go. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you very much. Those taxes controversial, but at the end of the day, almost all governments in the region have taken tremendously large loans from foreign, lenders and so on in order to build new terminals or to upgrade their terminals for airport development, airport expansion. And I mean, they had to find a funding mechanism to pay back those loans. Whether they took it from the Chinese, whether they took it from the Canadians and so on, they had to pay back those loans. And I believe the way that they saw to get the funding to pay back those loans was to add on some taxes, some airport development tax, some airport service charge. People, an airport is a tremendously expensive facility to operate. It has so many parts that have to be funded, people who have to be paid, the people who do the scanning and the searching and so on. I mean, an airport is just a large and expensive and complex operation, and funding it is something. You got to put people in the terminal. You have to provide air condition for them. That vast space for air condition, just think of the electricity bills. The toilets, it's not that when you go into them, they make you put in a swipe and so on that you get charged. Yet they have to pay for the water, they have to pay for the electricity, for the dryers and so on, that you dry your hand. They have to make it up to a certain standard, and on it goes. So I really don't know what other option they could have explored than to tack on some payment, some tax. The tax is uneven depending on where you buy the ticket, where it's going, whether it's in St. Lucia. St. Lucia will add its own taxes because, I mean, they have to meet the expenses for security and all of that. They cannot cut corners with it, because if they do so, the airport will be decertified, it will be downgraded, a whole lot of things that I'm not making excuses for it. But once you see things have to do with governments, we tend to have a feeling that it should be subsidized, it should be cheap, it should not be that price. They squeeze in the alleyway. We go to a private concern, they're running it, and that's why many governments trying to privatize things, because people don't make noise and quarrel and want to kill and so on because of prices they have to pay. When it is a private entity, they are a lot more understanding of it. I'm telling you, the government had owned supermarkets, and government was the one who owned what Massey owns now. The kind of stones, the kind of cutlass, the kind of quarreling, the kind of cursing. And once again, I'm not making excuses. Before anything, people are using the vote as a kind of a blackmail, a sword of Damocles, as they say, over the head of politicians. My vote by Simsako, my vote. And of course, you have politicians who are looking to come in so that they can make their own money, who, the type who, as we would say in the Creole, you kapalek tout lang, you tout dan, you tout lev, you tout gorge, this government that say it is for the Malay way, and that is charging people $35 on every ticket. I mean, people will be, kawedi venkuyo in denunciation of it. Yet when they come in, they do worse. You understand? They don't have answers to it. They do all kinds of different cocoa macaquerie, as it is called. Folks, sometimes when it comes to money and cost, there simply are no easy answers. You look at the supermarkets, you come and you talk about the high prices. Do you hear any government ministers or politicians joining you and saying, yes, those prices, they're price gouging and they're breaking people's arm? You don't hear them, because they probably understand, and it's in their interest to be quiet, that there's so many things that go into the final price, the end point price, the point of sale price. That they have to mark up things so that the supermarket, which is another tremendously expensive operation. I mean, you just walk into a supermarket, again, it's air conditioned and the doors are open, so there's a lot of leakage of the cold air and so on. And on it goes. The foods and the drinks that they have to keep chilled and so on, those things burn a lot of current, and the staff you have to pay. We have a call on the line. Hi, good afternoon. This is The Real Issues, and you're on. Hello.
Shelton.
Hey, what's up?
Shelton Daniel?
Yes, I'm hearing you and I'm answering you.
Okay. Liat. That's not the first time we have had that discussion. You have had other programs where you've had that discussion. Even when I remember Alan Chastney wanted to talk about the red jet.
There was red jet he tried. There was another thing called EC Express or whatever that he.
And there was the
Stanford.
There was the other one who was trying to bring the American Eagle.
Yeah.
As a hub.
But Alan Shasta was once associated with an airline called EC Express, I think. That Bud Stewart was. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you see, Liat have to look first and foremost, I must say that Antigua is using Liat as its vote cow. Okay? And this is one of the things that need to, if they need to have any review of Liat, they must have a view of Liat as the regional airline, like let's say in the local palace, call minibus. Okay? Subsidized by government because some of the routes are not profitable, and for not for once that any country or politician should use Liat as their vote cow. Antigua have been using Liat as their vote cow for years. That is an issue, my brother. There have been people there, the administrative part of Liat have not been successful throughout the years. Nothing has been done. Only because of a vote. How now we are in this quagmire. We are there. We all see the need for Liat right now. We all see the need because regional travel is in a mess.
It's in shambles. There's no
people
question about it.
Yeah, people even scared to move. What are we going to do? Gaston won't hold on to it, as you said. How much can he hold on? If his Liat moves, he have the fear of losing. But you know what? If Liat is not in Antigua, I might lose the election. A lot of people will be out of a job. What are we going to do? That is serious, you know. What are we going to do? Who is going to take the mantle? Okay, so you send it to Barbados. The Barbados government probably could use it as a vote cow as well. What are we going to do, my brother? So what I'm saying is we may well have to privatize this Liat thing where government has no control in a sense but to subsidize it. You have your you privatize it and the government subsidize to a certain extent because there are routes that are not profitable and it needs to be subsidized. There must not be equal pay for everybody. I believe the routes that where they have less travel, this government has to subsidize more. So they have to come, and I believe there was a study, and for a couple of years ago, but they never took it on. Nobody never really did it. The CDB study, it was.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yes. You know, my friend, I'm not defending Antigua because I live there and so on. But let me tell you, a lot of people.
No, but that's what you're gonna do. No, I knew that was gonna come in.
No. Let me tell you, the reality about Antigua, a lot of people don't understand, is that Antigua in the EOECS is the most melting pot island that you will find in all of them. In other words, you'll walk through St. Lucia and you will hear people who are mostly one kind of people. I'm not talking about complexion wise, but the same type of people, St. Lucians and a few there. Antigua is a place where so many different people come to live and to work. So when you hear of Liat, yes, it may be headquartered in Antigua, but my friend, I can tell you pilots that I know, Jamaican pilots, even right now, the director of flight operations, Captain Affer, I think it's Senhouse, whatever is his name. You hear of another one from Montserrat. You hear of workers, even the ordinary workers, a lot of Dominicans. So Liat in itself, while we may think that it is Antigua's baby and they're trying to hold on tightly to it, a lot of people from many different territories. The last managing director of Liat, Julie Rifford Jones, was a Barbadian. The communications manager, Desmond Brown, was a Jamaican. And on and on and on you go, you find people of so many different nationalities who either by virtue of being from those territories work with Liat, or they are people who migrated to Antigua, they live there and they find employment with Liat. So we have to see Liat in terms of the pork barrel and the doling out of money and pay and salaries to people. It really is a Caribbean operation. I can tell you that from my personal knowledge, from interviewing people all the time. It's not an Antigua thing where they're trying to feed and to fatten themselves off it. Antigua on the whole is a melting pot of many people, and Liat reflected that melting pot. You know? So maybe we need to have a little rethink of that.
Maybe no. Well, they'll have to prove to us otherwise. Because on the outside, being on the outside, that's how it looks.
Okay, all right, I understand.
Now, perception is something else.
That's true. That is quite true.
Okay.
I mean, by even here in St. Lucia, we know of how many people who made their living and who made their lives and who made it big as the local managers and workers of Liat. Even right now, we have them. Names like Eugene.
I understand that, Shelton, but Antigua, Antigua have, because all what you have been hearing is Antigua.
Yeah.
And you cannot give me wrong for saying this, because through my whole life following and the whole Liat thing, you have been hearing about Antigua.
Okay, all right, buddy. Thanks a lot for sharing that. We have to wrap it up right now. But Usav must say book na kontwa love in pali bad about Antigua. But anyway, that's just our little joke. I appreciate the points that you've made. Thank you so very much, and to everyone else. Wish we could have gone on a bit longer, but around this time we have to wrap it up for the lotto. On behalf of Nigel Nicholas and all of us here at NBC, Shelton Daniel saying goodbye for now. Stay safe, and let's do this again tomorrow, God willing, all things equal.
All facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
St. Lucia, roll out as Empire 758, Digicel, and Golden Events bring to you Steve! Big up you! Go Gemma. The big pull up vet as Souffre Crown erupts, performing live. Young brother! You wanna chill?
The winning numbers for the midday draw of Tuesday 25th October 2022 were Double Daily Grand 5, 14, 17, 19. Big 4 0, 8, 8, 7. The Big 4 multi-X ball drawn is 5X. Big 2 5, 7. The Big 2 multi-X ball drawn is 2X. One off 4, 7, 7. Lucky 3 9, 2, 6. The Lucky Free multi-X ball drawn is 3X.